see. Hi, welcome
Hey,
everybody. My name is Coach Bossy, and this is Networking Live. So happy to have all of you all here. And we are joined by a very special guest today. Her name is Tai Duncan. I'm so excited not only to be doing these networking lives, but to have you all here joining us. To start off, I just want to also thank everyone for being here. And then I think we just went live. Sorry, I thought it was live earlier, but as I refresh, I see there was a little bit of a delay. So here we go. Welcome to Networking Live with Coach Bossy. We are joined here today by Tai Duncan, who is an amazing human who I had the joy and honor of meeting during the pandemic through a mutual friend as we worked on a board diversification project. With that, I'll hand it over to you, Tai, to introduce yourself.
hey, thank you so much for having me. I am glad that our pandemic, Zooming brought us together. It's nice to have these couple of years of friendships behind us now too. So, thanks for having me.
Love it, love it. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're tuning in from today.
Sure. So I'm in my living room in Bucktown in Chicago, and I am the Vice President of Community Integration at Cresco Labs, a cannabis company based here in Chicago. We operate in 10 states around the country, and so my team is responsible for all the corporate social responsibility efforts, sustainability, volunteering, corporate philanthropy, all that good stuff, which I know we also share in common. So, and I've been a lawyer for now 14 years too. I don't practice at Cresco, but certainly that's part of who I am. I like to share with people. And I played college basketball and coached basketball for high school girls for many years and have a long and winding career path that brought me here. But born and raised in Chicago, spent 7 lovely years in the state of Iowa, undergrad at Grinnell College, and then University of Iowa for law school. But glad to be here. Thank you.
I love it. Thanks for that awesome intro. And it always makes me happy and excited to see how all of the different components of you can come together, right? You're not just a college basketball player, you're not just a lawyer, you're not just a corporate social responsibility leader at a company. You are all three of those things and so much more. And through networking, able to amplify that. And so there goes my first question, actually, which is what's one thing that we should know about you professionally?
Well, I think it's really just that. It's that the long and winding road that brought me to where I am right now and who I am is all part of my story. I think that, what I've learned recently, I mean, over the last several years and through talking to friends, is that we often try to hide parts of ourselves or make excuses for parts of ourselves. And I think when I was interviewing for jobs several years ago, like, how do I either justify decisions that I've made in my career or find ways to fit in the boxes that I think an employer wants, even if they're not necessarily meant for me, because the things I've done maybe aren't traditional. Everyone would say, "Oh, what an interesting resume! You've worked in financial services and nonprofits and law and whatever." And oh, so interesting, but like they didn't want to hire me, or they would hire me and I would get in the job and realize it wasn't what I actually wanted, or I loved the job, but then I didn't know what to do next. And so I think that accepting that my path is, as Sheryl Sandberg has said, a jungle gym versus a career ladder. It's like I've made a bunch of twists and turns, and not only professionally and personally, those are all parts of who I am and how I got here. And so I think to bring all of that with me to my interactions is important.
Oh, I love that. Okay, now I'm going to go a little off script because you just got me all excited when you said a jungle gym instead of a ladder. Is there any advice you would have for someone who's thinking about, okay, I'm on this career track, I'm on this ladder right now, but I want to make a change? I want to turn it into a jungle gym.
Yeah.
Is there any advice you give?
I think my jungle gym was less intentional, but I think that the way I got there is probably a fair enough lesson, which is I'm like values and leadership and vision driven. And so I was not looking for certain titles necessarily or certain industries even. I was looking for where can I learn something new? Where are the skills that I already have and be most valued? Where is the leadership strong? I can learn from someone who is already directing this corporation or this nonprofit or this, organization. And so I think that the reason I ended up sort of twisting, winding, I started out practicing law, labor and employment law for the City of Chicago Corporation Council, and then ended up going to Ariel Investments and worked there for 4 years doing corporate affairs, community relations, board governance, and diversity, equity, inclusion, a lot of different things. But I really went to an industry I'd never learned about. Like financial services was brand new to me, but I went because of an opportunity to use the skills I already had and develop a whole set of new ones. And really the network I was going to get, I thought, from learning from John Rogers and Melly Hops and the team there was going to just really help me as a professional to develop. I took a leap, leaving the profession of law so early on after only 2 years full-time practice because of the leadership that John showed when I interviewed, when I learned about, how he committed to the business world and to the philanthropic community. And so I made my first big pivot because of leadership and because of opportunity and learning something new. And it was terrifying. But it also opened me up to a lot of things I wouldn't otherwise have learned if I had stayed sort of in a traditional legal path. And so I think that if you understand what your values are and where you want to grow, where your skills are going to be most valued and where you can learn new things and where the leadership that you're going to be learning from can help get you to where you want to be, then it's like whatever twist and turn you make, it's not going to be a mistake. It'll be maybe an adventure. But I think that, if you're driven by, which I know it's easy to say, like, just money, right? Money's important. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it's not, but you're driven by titles or accolades or money or things that you can find kind of anywhere in different ways. Some of those twists and turns may make you feel a little bit uneasy, or you may have some regrets there. But if you're driven by your values and the vision that you have and the goals that you set for yourself, even if you're not sure where it leads you, I think that those different moves, those pivots, are only good, ultimately in your career.
I love that. When I heard you say, yes, we all need money, right? Like, we're not going to sit here and
Yeah,
deny
it's
that.
not play.
But at the same time, hearing you say, like, but you can get that in any profession. So really following your values and those leaders that can help you execute those. Before I get to the next question, I just want to share, like, people are super pumped hearing you talk about this. I saw Frederick in the chat from Chi-Town who said, so true, Tai, so true, when you were talking about the values and being able to learn and grow. I see Karina here and she's saying, yes, love this, Tai. I feel it completely. So I'd be remiss if I didn't share these with you as they're coming in. Frederick talking about the jungle gym versus a career. I think that is like the quote I'm going to take with me and carry it through the rest of this year and probably into next year, is that jungle gym instead of a career.
Sheryl Sandberg.
See, and it's like, how had I not heard that before? And then we have Sherelle here, and she's saying, I identify with this, feeling the need to hide parts of myself, especially when they're my favorite parts of myself. Thank you all in the chat and for interacting and sharing these. And thank you, Tai, because you're really bringing about some excitement here today. And I love, love, love the values-driven part. As we have grown closer over the last 2 years in the pandemic, seeing your values play out in your work and really inspires me to do the same. All right, so next question is, what is your current networking goal or areas you're looking to learn more about?
So I think one area that's new to me is sustainability. So I'm taking on a new responsibility at our company, leading our environmental, social, and governance initiative. And so just networking with folks who are in the sustainability space in cannabis, but also any other CPG companies that have done that work. I think I'm learning. We have amazing consultants we're working with, and I'm, getting a lot of information, but talking to some of the folks at our company who do it day in and day out, like manufacturing and, our operations teams. It's like their knowledge, I'm so far from there, and so to be able to learn from folks who are already doing it, who set up these kind of programs, is something that I would love to get more exposure to. And because often we think about networking, I think it's like looking for a job, or it's like this idea of like there's an end goal in it. And I think that, which maybe we'll get to in a second, but the idea that networking is about building relationships and like gathering knowledge, but knowledge is beneficial both ways. I think that, I've had a lot of folks in my life who've been very supportive of me and answered my questions and answered my calls. And I didn't feel like I was giving them anything in return at the time. And so I want to give back, but I certainly know that there has to be a goal too, right? And so if the goal is a connection, like if the goal is, when I met you, I was like, the way that she thinks and articulates her feelings about things, the way it's respectful and direct, she did not play around. I need more of that. I want to spend some time and understand how she got here, right? And so like the goal was to get to know you. It wasn't to get something from you or, to even necessarily learn anything new, but it was like, I gotta see what's going on with this woman. She's different. I want to be around someone who's like that, And so I think that sustainability for me is that area I want to learn more about. But if it's just about a conversation here and there that's going to check a box, or it's just that's not, to me, that's a waste of everyone's time. It should be more about connection building.
I love that 100%. So sustainability, I feel like that's such a hot topic right now. And I'm excited because I didn't know that that was a direction that you all were going in and that you're looking to go in. And I have some folks that I will introduce you to.
Cool.
But also, once we finish this, I'll post this week and let people know you're looking to network with folks in the sustainability space. And hopefully, we'll get you even more connections there.
Cool. Thank you.
Um, Let's see here. There is another comment. Frederick is talking about, let's see, the power and intention when connecting with folks is everything. Yes, so that was the other thing I was going to bring up, Ty. I love that you said what you were talking about is that those mutually beneficial relationships and that it's not about what can I get or what can you get, but just how can we learn and grow together. And I had the same feeling when we met. I was like, I don't know her, but I think I'm going to learn a lot from her. And I have, right? I've learned so much, not just from you, but also from your family and from other folks in your network that have helped me grow personally and professionally. So I thank you for your intrigue and wanting to be a part of my network. I want to, I know we just have a couple more minutes, speed networking. This is not meant to take up our whole day, folks. But if anybody in the audience wants to shout out where they're from or has any questions about their network or this intentionality, that Ty has talked about, please feel free, shout it out now or comment in the chat. And Ty, if you have anything to add, of course, always love hearing your thoughts about, building this network intentionally and learning and growing together.
I get a fair number of like LinkedIn messages. It was just like a request. I'm like, why? Like, I don't. And I mean, some people, are just like, let's more the merrier, and that's perfectly certainly works for some people. For me, it's like someone will send me, a LinkedIn connection request and then not say anything. I won't understand what the connection is or why they even wanted to connect with me. And it's like, well, now we're connected on LinkedIn, but like, what does that mean? So I think some of it is that, if you meet, I met someone at an event recently who just started talking to me, hey, I'm looking to, learn more about marketing in cannabis industry. And I was like, I'm not a marketing person, but I can tell you about the industry and some of the trends and some of the things. And so now, we got to talking and we have a lot in common. And so we're going to get together and have coffee. Like, I don't know how we can help each other in business or professionally, personally or professionally, but she made the effort to come talk. We had a good conversation, and now I'm happy to connect with her. And so I think that that's something that just to be thoughtful about, like what are the tools you're using and why? When you come to talk to someone, like what is the goal there? Because at the end of the day, it's like it's your energy and your time too. Every time you send yourself to someone, that's your energy and time and sharing of yourself too. So what do you want to share with them? What do you want to learn from them?
Right. So that clarity, I couldn't agree more because this is one of my big pet peeves. Whenever I get someone that just requests me on LinkedIn, I'm like, well, who are you? What about my page made you want to connect with me? Like, what's happening here? And so that's also what, like, one of my big things of sharing, like, okay, I want to connect with you for XYZ reason. And exactly how we became connected. Like, we had a friend who wanted to diversify the board, and we were experts in that. So we had the honor of helping. Okay, in the chat, lightning round now. We've got a couple more minutes. Sherelle says she's also from Chicago. Yay, yay, yay. Chicago in the house and frequently in your area. Then we've got Frederick who asked the question, who do you see yourself becoming? Ooh, that's a deep question.
Might need to do some soul searching here to answer that one. I mean, well, what I will say, I'll use that in the present tense. Like I see myself becoming someone who has been able to shake some of the uncertainties of who she is, right? Which is kind of a circular way to answer that question. But I think when I was interviewing for some jobs and stuff back in the day, it's called 5 or so years ago, I'm like, I was trying to be who I thought I should be based on my, expectations of myself or what my title had, said or what friends were doing, what people, and, my classmates were doing. I didn't know sort of who I was or I know what I stood for, but I didn't necessarily know who I was professionally. I think that now I see myself becoming someone who is confident in those values and those beliefs, like in the fact that I want to connect people, but I want to do it in a meaningful way. I want to help, support communities, and I want to help people to grow professionally and personally. I'm engaged in a lot of board service and ways to continue to grow my exposure to supporting other people in their causes. So I think that I see myself becoming someone who is more confident and bringing my whole self to the table wherever I am too, which is something that I'm not ever sure until probably I joined Cresco, honestly, that I felt I could do. It's a company where people say all the time, but it's like, I can bring my whole self there, but part of that also is knowing self-awareness. Like some of your whole self isn't always ready for the workplace. And so just know that about yourself, right? It's another like caveat I would say, but someone who can really lean into all of her parts and bring that to the table and be there for other people in service to others.
In service to others. Wow. And I know that also people are happy and humble and excited to be in service to you as well because you give so much to so many different boards. Um, with that, I'll have our last little shout out here. Karina, thank you for joining us from Milwaukee, the Oklahoma City Milwaukee connection. Love seeing everybody in the audience. Love having you today, Tai. And thank you for such a meaningful conversation about values and where they intersect with networking. With that, we'll close the show. I always promise a quick 15-minute networking. But if anyone has any questions or thoughts about how to jumpstart their networking journey, please download this 30-day networking planner to help you get more intentional and thoughtful and values-based about it. And if you have any interest or any information about the sustainability world, please connect with Tai Duncan of Cresco Labs and Community Affairs. But thank you, Tai, for being here. This was super fun.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for all the questions and being able to engage. It's so fun to see you and watch your company and your purpose to grow and help others. So very proud of you. Thank you.
Oh, sending big love. See you later, everyone.
Bye.